The Greek shipping company Empire Navigation has pleaded guilty to smuggling sanctioned Iranian crude oil and agreed to pay a $2.4 million fine, according to the newly unsealed U.S. court documents. Empire Navigation currently faces 3 years of probation under the plea agreement, News.com has learned. The legal drama surrounding the tanker has reportedly sparked further tension between Washington and Iran, even as the two are currently working towards a trade which involves the exchange of billions of dollars in frozen Iranian assets in South Korea for the release of 5 Iranian Americans held in Tehran, as promised by the Biden administration. According to the Associated Press, the unsealed court filings also shed light on the rampant and clandestine operations of Iranian crude oil smuggling in the face of Western sanctions, something that only grown in scale over this year. The Iranian crude oil smuggling operation started after America's withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran, officially known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, back in May 2018 under the Trump administration. Following the withdrawal, the U.S. reimposed the previous sanctions on Iran, who retaliated by gradually violating some of its nuclear commitments mentioned as part of the deal. The Suez Rajan tanker became the focus of attention in February 2022 after the non-profit advocacy organization United Against Nuclear Iran, UN, suspected that the tanker carried oil from Iran's Karg Island, its main oil distribution terminal in the Persian Gulf. As per the Associated Press, the newly unsealed court documents rely on satellite images, as well as documents, to show that the Suez Rajan tried to hide its loading of Iranian crude oil from one tanker by trying to claim that the oil came from another one. The AP further reported that Suez Rajan sat in the South China Sea off the northeast coast of Singapore for months before abruptly sailing for the Texas coast, wherein the vessel discharged its cargo to another tanker, which recently released its oil in Houston. The court documents confirmed that the U.S. government has seized the oil. Apostolos Turkantonis, a lawyer for the Greek shipping company Empire Navigation, pleaded guilty to a single charge of violating the sanctions on Iran in April, after Washington seized the Marshall Islands flagged tanker when it was caught transferring oil off Singapore. The seizure was followed by the Greek shipping company entering into a deferred prosecution agreement with the U.S., pledging to transport approximately 800,000 barrels of illicit Iranian crude oil for seizure and forfeiture. The head of the UNI and former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations under President George W. Bush, Mark Wallace, praised Empire Navigation for agreeing to the plea. He added that Iran's oil smuggling is a mob-like operation, and that others should forfeit the trade. In a statement to the Associated Press, the former ambassador said, they, Empire Navigation, faced down Iranian assassination threats in Greece. They took the off-ramp to leave the mob. Justice was served. At the same time, there needs to be a serious policy review on why it took so long and why there are 300 vessels out there doing the same thing, Wallace said in his statement. Although the court documents did not mention the alleged assassination threats, prosecutors did cite security risks to the defendants, the government, as well as the vessel and its crew members, when they applied for the case to be sealed back in March. The U.S. Treasury had said that Iran's oil smuggling revenue supports the Quds Force, the expeditionary unit of the Revolutionary Guard that operates across the Mideast. The unveiled court documents have also linked the Revolutionary Guard to the trade, which involves hundreds of vessels that try to mask their movements and can hide their ownership through foreign shell companies. The U.S. and its allies have been seizing Iranian oil cargoes since 2019, which has led to a series of attacks in the Middle East that have been attributed to Iran. It has also led to ship seizures by Iranian military and paramilitary forces, thus threatening global shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which 20% of the world's oil passes. On Wednesday, September 6, the U.S. updated its warning to shippers traveling through the Middle East. Commercial vessels transiting through the Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz and Gulf of Oman continue to be illegally boarded and detained or seized by Iranian forces.